Hello, good morning, and welcome to an episode of Under Construction, my Let's Develop series. I guess. Is Let's Develop a play on Let's Play? I don't know. Either way, my pseudo stream series, we're gonna work on my video game and not really overly edit it. We're just gonna work together. Throw me on in the background while you're cooking up some dinner or something. I don't care. Today, we're going to do a very specific task, and however long it takes is how long it takes. So I recently put an updated version of the demo, which if you haven't played it, go check it out on Steam, my liege, free demo, just in time for the Steam Next Fest. Which I will also be participating in if that wasn't clear. And then I had a buddy playtest it, and he did something that I hadn't seen yet, and it shocked me, which is just a quick plug for how important playtesting is. I know if you've watched like Thor's shorts or people like that, he already has talked at length several times about the importance of playtesting. People like Game Maker's Toolkit have talked about. I'm just gonna get to the point where I can just show what issue Jake brought up. But Game Maker's Toolkit has done a whole video on Steam's playtesting approach and why it's so important for them the way they do it. So I don't really need to expound on how important it is, but it is really important, and I'm finding out live here because I have done these actions in my game tens, 50s, hundreds of times while testing or playing it myself to see how it feels. And my buddy did something that I've never done, and it makes sense. So what he did is, let's say he chose an action where somebody was going to get reassigned from one job to the next. Great. What I do next is I display an example of one of those meeples as they go from their merchant job to being a farmer. And I have the camera follow them. Well, because I don't really... This isn't separate from the game world, you can still click on people. And what he was doing was every time this happened, this reassignment happened, he would be like, oh, hey, this person I'm following, they must be important. So he would click on them. Immediately we have a problem. This new menu is rendering behind the old menu. So that's problem number one, because I can't hit that close button. Problem number two, though, is like this wasn't as interesting as it could be because I'm bringing the camera to this person, making them important. This is one of the people switching jobs. This is a great opportunity for me as the game dev to have some reason for you to click on them. Like, hey, maybe you don't, that's fine. But if you do, I have a spot where I can have very context-specific reaction. I could set up like, hey, if you did merchant to farmer, what specific, like, is a merchant happy, upset, looking forward to this opportunity? What are they thinking? Not should I have bread or toast for lunch, which is, I still think, a fun line to have in the game, but that should be sprinkled in. I clicked on a random meeple. What are they thinking? Oh, haha, bread or toast. What a decision. So I realized that one, functionally, there's an issue of things overlapping poorly. But also, there's a missed opportunity here that I want to take advantage of. So that is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna fix this. Luckily, the thing that does work is because this menu opens second when I hit escape, it goes away first. But if you don't use escape to close the menus, then you have to close the first menu first and then the second menu last. And this isn't a FIFO. This is a LIFO kind of situation. So last in, first out. So that was the feedback. And he didn't even give me that feedback. He mainly just played the game, and I watched it and witnessed it, and then was like, hey, that needs to change. That's a missed opportunity, and it should be pretty easy, I think. So before we get started, I realized that part of the recording didn't have any of the game sounds in it. My game's not silent. I'm just not recording desktop sounds. Because usually when I do these, I don't record music. I let you guys listen to whatever music you want, and I don't have to worry about copyrights or none of that. Today, if you're curious and want to listen along, I'm listening to Live at Grillby's by Insane in the Rain Music on Spotify. It is jazzy covers of Undertale songs, which it's an excellent album. I wanted to hype it real quick. Okay, so what is our approach here? What is the plan? Like I said, we got kind of the two issues. One is a bug fix the menu rendering thing, which I think should be should be pretty easy, because all I really have to do is say reorder the order the menus are rendered in. Which I don't think should be too bad. The tricky part there is you can focus a meeple at different times. So we got to that'll be the trickiest part, is making sure that we always layer the menus properly. And then the other part will be simply, hey, get out of my coffee. Adding in that ability to give the meeple you're following a specific thought, which luckily we might get to see if I design this properly early on, that is a pretty easy tweak to make. So let's tackle the graphical issue first. And I realized I replicated it in the game, the real game. I'm going to replicate it quick in the editor now. Just scoot through these changes quick. And actually, I'm going to just set up a save here so that we can bounce back to this testing step display. That way I don't have to go through that if I have to redo this. So we don't really care. Oop. There we go. Merchants can help. Great. And click. So if I pause the game here. So a little bit behind the scenes. The menus actually live down under the world so that they're out of the way. So where is the other menu? Oh, the focus meeple menu isn't set up the same way. So I went through a top period of time where every menu was anchored to the same canvas, but then as I started switching to using these 3D objects in menus, I started setting them up in like their own box, so they would not touch each other ever. Box meaning like if I come into like over here in my Explorer, I have a group of menus, and you'll see the house person details go there. the pause displays over there, the step displays there, the pause submenu displays there. You know, each one's got a slightly different spot to avoid overlap. Obviously, there is overlap in game because they're all rendering to the same screen space, but because each menu has its own camera attached to it, that's why physically in editor space they're spaced out. So maybe that's part of the problem right off the bat is I've got a mishmash of menu design. So what I need to go find is let's collapse some stuff here. I don't know. My head's kind of blocking out some of my Project Explorer. So I'm going to try to, I'll make sure I use this Project Explorer, even though this is still, it's tough to read, and I hate that the UI upscaling also messes with the graphics resolution of the editor. Luckily, won't do too much in Unity, the Unity editor itself today. What I first off need though is let's grab the prefab for that menu. So this is using my old, like I said, I have two approaches to menus. And I just hadn't gotten to swapping these yet. So maybe that'll be the first order of business is I'm going to take this and update it to the new menu base. So we're going to take my menu base new, the current version, the better version. We'll make a variant of it, and we're going to call it focus meeple menu. Put it in the right folder. Okay. And now the way I've got this set up is focus so that menu-based prefab handles the visual like scroll animation, the scroll rect to make sure things are rendered on the scroll and not outside of it, things like that. So all I should have to do is I just take my content for the menu, I drag it in. You can kind of see it's rendered there. The content being the actual menu itself. And then if it needs any references associating that, but it doesn't look like it does, which is good. And then we just take the size 400 by 300 and we make sure that the menu itself is set up to be that, and it is. And the last thing is we just need to anchor it properly so that when it scrolls, the top of the menu is anchored to the top part of the scroll and it looks like we're revealing more. So that's just, I make a top anchor there and I position the menu so it's flush. That should be it. The last step will be telling the game how to use it. So in general, for my design of the acts, each act is a different scene. So I have this big prefab scenario essentials that holds everything that is going to be used on every act, no matter what. I have started calling them acts. I used to call them scenarios. This is the problem of a project maturing, is some of the names you picked early on make a little less sense. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that focused object area and we're actually going to make a menu spot for them. Oh, there was nothing special about this, right? Oh, no, it's got the script tied to it. Oh yeah, because these spawn. Oh yeah. If we change one, we'll have to change the other two. There's a meeple menu and a headquarters menu. We'll do both. Um, let's double check this focus object manager script and make sure that it won't have any issues if we change its home. Look, it doesn't care about its parents at all, does it? It's event based so that we know when to open the menus because events were thrown. Or just like delegates were called. We get component in children, which is fine. That won't matter if we change its home. Okay. Yeah, so none of this matters if we change its home. And it's only referenced in that one spot. Great. So we're going to slide that just down into the menus bucket. And as far as allocating space, let's put this at 300. 0, 0. So that's just the next, like, I'm doing increments of 50, so it's the next, like, parking spot. Shoot. Cats are digging in the cabinets. Pausing. Okay, so I can't really get video of it because I'm anchored to the desktop right now, but the cat Jelly Bean, the big poofy orange one, has figured out that if he gets into the recycling slash bags cabinet, he can use his paw to push out the junk drawer, and sometimes he'll from inside the cabinet like fish around and get things out, or he'll just shove the drawer open, hop up on the cabinet, and then fish out all of the goodies, things like rubber bands, hair ties, fun cat toys. So I was gonna kick him out, and then I get over there, and Juliet, his sister, is also in there, not participating, but like watching. I was like, oh, it's a brother sister bonding activity. We'll let it happen. So yeah, I'm a pushover. Okay, so we got this in a new spot. That's great. Oh, we need to make sure that it's using our new menu prefab. So we'll put the reference in there. And the very last thing is because this menu is using a camera with a very specific layer, I need to make sure that this and all of its children are using the UI perspective layer. That's just how I make sure that the cameras that are rendering UI and 3D in a 3D perspective only catch that stuff, those kind of things, both through the visual spacing and also through layer management. Figured that would be nice and safe. Okay, let's see if that changes anything. So all we've done is switch to do it. All we've done is do something that I already planned on doing. Updating a menu to use a new design pattern. Let's see if that actually fixes our first problem. I don't think it will, but you never know. So we're following and we click on someone. Oh! Why is the menu so tiny? Something got screwed up. Oh, I know it is. If you take items out of a canvas and you drag it into another spot, you'll see that canvases are often scaled. So like reference pixels per unit is 100 right now, so everything is shrunk. And when you drag out a game object from a canvas, it keeps that scaling. So we need to set this back to 111. There we go. That was pretty silly. Oop. Okay, let's try again. So focusing on a meeple. Wait. The menu worked except for our cameras disjointed. So our menu exists. Why is it disjointed? So because the PC menu. It's there. I messed stuff up. So specifically, some things need to be a different layer, and when I blanket made sure everything was using UI perspective instead of UI, I messed up the camera. Oops. That's fine. So this preview camera, which is supposed to follow meeples around, it's using a preview camera culling mask, and the virtual camera that's supposed to follow the meeple and give you this kind of roller coaster tycoon like preview is using that layer preview camera. And so when I shoved it into the menu here, it made everything UI perspective. That made the camera UI perspective as well. So I'm gonna revert all the overrides on. Actually, no. Let's just. Sometimes reverting overrides works fine, but I'm just gonna actually reassociate it in there. We'll re-anchor it, and then. Actually, no. Before reassociate it, let's just change the prefab to refer to the right layer. So everything helps. I hear so much clanging and clamoring in the kitchen from them in the recycling cabinet, but whatever. Life with cats. No. If you say yes with children, it doesn't matter what you've highlighted. It's going to get everything. So this needs to be preview camera. And everything else is UI perspective. Great. And now when we go to the menu and drag in the content, should be good. Just make sure it's anchored right. Come on. There we go. And now if we try again, we should be sitting good. The other thing is this used to be offset to the right, so we'll want to adjust that as well. Ooh, how best to offset it? Okay, but let's see if the overlapping is still an issue before we go chasing that problem too. There we go. See? Look at that. Look at that. All we had to do. Okay, so there is actually still a problem happening. It's hard to tell. Visually, we think we've won. The UIs are still having a bit of an issue. And I ran into this already once, but essentially what is occurring is this UI and the UI. So even though these are 3D objects now, they're still little, these flat parts are still canvases. So the canvas from the horizontal scroll in the background there, and the canvas for the meeples scroll here, they're at the same render, was the right word, render layer or sorting layer. And so you'll see as I try to like hover and click on close, the button's flickering in and out. And what's happening there is uh the game's actually the UI event system is having issues because it's it's treating both the thing in the background and here at the same layer. And so it's actually having a hard time telling which object it's hitting with its ray targeting, ray casting. That's the word. So we got a couple of things there. First one's easy. Let's do that. What I believe I did. So the spot I had this already happen was making sure the uh this menu rendered on top of this one, or the meeple house editor, or the meeple editor as well. Here's where that ordering thing comes into play. This menu always will be on top. There's no, everything behind it is turned off. I can't open anything to open on top of this. Um the problem that can occur though is we don't always know, like, is this going to be the only menu on there, or is it going to be the first menu because I managed to, oh wait, no, we're blocking that out. Where was I always blocking that out? No. Oh, I need to turn that off because I don't want to actually dim the background, especially if we follow that person. But my point is, like, you could have this open and then open a matter, and this would be in the background. So there's a bit of an issue there. Like sometimes it'll be lower, not above. I guess what we could do is just do a full suite of sorting layers. Like, um, would I be able to come up with an order like this will always be the most bottom, then this, then this, and have every menu type? I feel that's a recipe for issues. Um, I could assign sorting layers when a menu's opened. Um, for example, in our, which script is it? I want to say it's the UI manager. No, it's not the UI manager. Wait, no, it is. Open menu list right here. Because I already have a thing that whenever a menu is created, I add it to a list so that I know which one's the first one to close when escape is pressed. So I could assign layers based on which number menu you are. How tricky would that be? Because what I need to so when I do that, what I would need to change is the camera attached to the menu. Let's say we open the focus meeple menu. The camera's right at the top. I was like, why am I being so blind? So it would be the no, sorry, it's not the camera, it's the canvas I would need to adjust. This sorting layer right here. Which that's not too bad. I mean, I'm assuming sorting layer is easily accessible. So we're gonna just open up Unity scripting API documentation. That'd be a property. Oh, Oh, that's 2D sorting. Hmm. So wait a minute. You're telling me that I might not be able to access. So like for example, if I had a camera variable, weird. Okay, so it's not trivial to set the sorting layer, I guess, in script. Why am I talking cameras again? Cameras again. Ah! I'm supposed to be talking canvases. Ah! Okay, if we have a canvas. Oh my goodness. So I could set it either with an int or by name. And then the order within the layer even. Okay. And would I be able to do that generically? Because the way we would know what layer to do would be in here, figuring out which entry into this linked list you are, and doing a callback. No, I don't have to do a callback. I'm already passing around my liege menu, which is my menu's base class. So I could have a function in the base class that I call, and all of them in my, let's see if we open up that base prefab again, where did it go? In the base prefab, the canvas is there. So I could easily have this menu base script have a reference to the canvas and update it. I don't I don't hate that idea. Um so I'm gonna I'll say the other idea to rubber ducky it a little bit. My other idea is, what if I have, because I don't really, there's not really a reason. Let's test it out actually. So on the focus menu, I gotta remember first to the image disable background. We're just gonna inactivate. That's just not gonna be. We're not disabling the background. And then focused object area, when we put one of these in, we need it to be offset. So if we offset it by, oh, I don't know. Forgot I can't really tinker with it too much if it's in prefab mode. Oh, that's right. If I can't offset it. If I try to offset it in the world space, I'm just moving around the camera's attached to the object, so it's always going to appear in the middle. What I would have to do is offset this, which I can't. Offset the there, we offset the menu. That's what we do. Okay, we'll figure out how much we're offsetting it in play mode. Ugh, now I see the cat sitting in the junk drawer. I will be right back. Okay. Crisis averted. One of these days I'm gonna forget to unpause my video recording and just be very sad. Let's see. So if you're dead center and we're following, let's get out of the prefab. Scenario essentials, menus, focus object menu, canvas menu. So far enough left that we can see the meeple we're following. Let's raise it up some too. That way it's kind of level with the meeple. So minus 350 plus 80. Now we see this is the problem I was going to get into next. One, this ancestry menu, same story. It is the old style menu. So it's just like a cascading issue at the moment. I had to go scrub all the menus pretty much. But one point I was gonna make here is like, if you've got this open and you go to a matter, I'm taking up all the screen with this matter menu. So I don't really want other menus in the background distracting you or attracting attention. A long time ago, I had this vision of the game where you could have a series of multiple menus open. If you've ever played Banished, I've talked about it on a couple videos, but Banished is like that. You would have all these UI menus open to display information to help you make decisions, but that's a very different game. It's more of an RTS. So you need to be able to make decisions at any time. This is the clear decision making moment. So what I'm thinking is having a class of menus that when you open it, it closes other menus. So design wise, I have menus that when they're open, you can't open anything else. Nothing is selectable. We're suppressing everything else. You have to close this in order to be able to re-interact with these buttons. I also have menus where I don't mind. If you have this open, fine. You can go do stuff still. Or if you click on a different meeple, I'll open a different version of them. But what I'm thinking of is like, you got something open. Okay, I'm not going to stop you from clicking the family tree, but I'm probably, what I'm thinking is just wipe out any menus that were open when you open the family tree, because this is taking up all the space. I can see that. I think that I think the sorting layers idea could be good. But I think I want to better police which menus are open. I think that'll help keep me out of weird scenarios like this one, where like, oh man, I never managed, like, I never thought the game would get in this situation where like these three menus are open together, and it's like, no, when the ancestry menu is open, this is the screen. I want to only think about that. I don't want to worry about what combination it's in. So let's do that. What do we need to do that? I will need a property on the I'll need a property on the base menu to specify do I close menus or not. I'll need, oop, geez, cat. Flew into their cat tree like a rocket ship. I will need an event that we can throw. Maybe just another version of menu created where there's another variable that says clear the queue or clear the open menu list first, and then add mine, and then obviously handle that processing here. So yeah, let's do that first. Menu created is just subscribed to my liege menu. So let's get the base class open. So I think yeah, let's have a we'll do it as a parameter, yeah. So my liege menu, when you create it, will also send you a bool of destroy No, let's use game terms. Close existing menus. And you don't need to specify that on menu destroyed, I don't think. Menu destroyed is just trying to remove it from the list. Now, menu created, that's happening immediately. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we need this to be a serialized field. This way, for all my menu prefabs, I have to set it. And if I forget to set it, it'll function the way the game functions now. Default. And then we'll just pass that in. I'm making it private, not protected, because I don't want classes that inherit this to do anything with it. All I want is this to be a setting set on the prefab in the editor. And then let's prep this. When menu is created, we need to catch that. If close existing menus for each my liege menu in my liege menu and open menu list. Do I just call menu destroyed, which is what happens when you take away a menu? This actually might get a little weird. For each, when I destroy the menus, it gets removed from the list. Actually, I don't think that's a problem. I think it's only a problem if you're going through it by index. But part of me is also like, maybe I need to do a while and always grab the last menu. Oh, yeah, let's do that. I'll do it the exact same way. When escape is pressed, I just that's a little misleading, but doing it this way will ensure because the whole reason behind that function, close menu escape, is when you hit escape, if your menu has to do any like saving of data or whatever, calling this function is where that menu's specific code has a chance to define what happens if you're just exiting out without saving or whatnot, you know? So I could make use of it here. Problem is then that name's misleading. Should I change this so that I don't forget that there's two scenarios this could happen in? So let's switch this to a while the count is greater than 0. Part of me also has to remember I'm the only dev working in the code base right now, so like I don't like Oh my goodness, closed menu escapes used in 2 places and one of them does not when you hit escape? Is that a big deal? I don't think so. But also, if I ever do have more devs in here, but it's also good practice to just code intelligently because future me is pretty much a different dev than current me. Future me's might forget that I've done this to myself and I need to write code as if future me is a new hire that doesn't know what's going on anymore. This code base is getting wide enough. I need to treat future me like an idiot because he probably will be an idiot. Or future me would be like, wow, past me was an idiot. But also, that's classic. Like, who wrote this before? Like, blah, blah, blah. That's classic programmer behavior. So, what's a good name? What are we doing? We're closing it. $18 references and 17 files. Close menu. I could just make a separate function with a different name so that if I ever do need to, let's do it that way. What is this? Closed menu. Another menu is more important than you. Closed menu. Fuck you, I'm a bus. uh, if that doesn't make sense, there's a GIF where there's a bus careening down a road, just shoving cars aside. Um, wow, this I'm really getting hung up on this. VIP opened? I don't know. I guess closed menu automated. Oh, what about external? There we go. We're closing the metal. There. Oh, that's a great name. Close menu external. We're closing the menu externally. I'm just leaving myself a note. I don't like in comments saying when something's getting called because like Visual Studio, I already have that. I can go find where it's called. But I like leaving notes like this where I guess that's actually an important thing. Not that I'm gonna try to tell you how you should program, but something that I've learned is comments can get outdated fast, and outdated comments are worse than no comments at all. So if a comment says this, this is called by code A, and code A gets changed and no longer calls it, now that comment's misleading, which is worse than nothing at all. So I don't like having comments that are explicitly able to be outdated. However, I do like comments like this where I say, what was the original intent? What was my thought process? That's something important that Visual Studio can't tell me in the future. Visual Studio can tell me who calls this. Visual Studio cannot remind me why the heck I designed it this way. So if later this is not working right and I'm like, oh wait, I originally was only using this for escape and close menus, but now I'm doing it when the clown arrives and Bigfoot appears, like that, obviously I've strayed too far from the path. So I do like comments like that. Great, this is excellent. Now, we'll just loop through that until we're done, and then we'll add something to the list. Great, 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 great. I think this is elegant. Let's make up a test case. When I open Ancestry, we want to say, no, everything else closed. So family tree menu. Why is there no checkbox? Because it's using the old base class. Dang it. Okay. Ancestry is a bad one because it's the old way. Let's use something that's using the new way. Matter menu. Wait, is matter menu using the old way? No. Oh my gosh, I am such an inconsistent dev. Matter menu is not even attached to a prefab right now. It's just its own thing. Wow, in the flurry of dev changes I've made in order to meet my own deadline of having that demo updated prior to Next Fest, we've gotten a little loosey-goosey on things. This is really not attached to a prefab at all. Oh no, that's not good. It's completely unpacked, unhinged. Oh wait, no, I'm dumb. Okay, I mean, so I'm not. Some of what I said was correct. My main matter menu is unhinged. It is not using the base for unscrolling. It is its own. It's using the same code and functionality, but the my liege menu is not the base class for the outer part, like the visual scroll on rolling display. It is the base menu of the contents, like the actual UI bits. So that's what I should be opening. Matter menu content, close existing menus when opened. Great. Let's give it a test. So let's open a menu. Oh, I forgot to reposition that. And then also come over to this. Whoops. Gotta reposition it a little bit there. Open one. Uh-oh. I think, did I make an infinite loop? It should be getting removed. I made an infinite loop. Crap. Well, okay, I guess I don't know why it's infinite. It doesn't look like it should be infinite. This calls close menu external, which should cause the menu to get destroyed, which should remove it from the list, which is what I'm looping through. So eventually, everything will be removed. But it appears, I mean, sometimes you can't argue with, I guess oh gosh, Unity editor is still going, oh no, and it's slowly gaining more and more memory. This is bad. We're gonna hit a memory out of overflow. When was the last time we said, yeah, we gotta kill it. That's all there is to it. Well, we'll find out when the last time we saved was. I'm looking at the git changes quick. That's no faster than opening it. Let's see, UI elements, menus, no. Menus matter menu content. Okay, closed menu, existing menus is still checked. Let's debug this. I don't know why that's why that went infinite. Enable debugging. Let's hit play. Some old breakpoints in from last time I was testing. What was I testing? I think the save functionality. Got our menu. This is true. Menu list is 1. Okay. Close menu external. I guess. We call it close menu external without actually calling menu destroyed. Uh-oh. So let's go find that. That would be the focused. Meeple focus menu? My leash menu. Okay, we call on click close. Shoot. F11. I meant to click. We're invoking the closed focus. Okay. Which should be the yeah. Oh, camera controls. Focused object manager. This is close open focus menu. If it's not null, destroy it. Yeah. Okay. Not null. Destroying it. Which we don't have anything on override on destroy, so that should go back all the way to the base class of on destroy. But it did. Oh, I bet it's I bet destroying the game object doesn't trigger the on destroy immediately. Instead, it's happening async, which okay, that's fine. Um, how do we get out of this? Like I can't. I guess can I brick this somehow? Hmm. God, I can't change it while it's running. Man, that was something nice about. I don't know how fast did it or how it worked, but yeah. Okay. So what will be our solution here? I guess I like the idea of calling the external function because then I make sure I go through the logic that's attached to each menu of, hey, how do I handle closing this menu safely when closed externally? Um, so I want to call this. Let's just not do a while loop. Let's go back to for each. I think because things won't be removed until later, we'll be fine. Also, I don't think for each breaks if you remove something from the list. I don't know. We could actually Google that maybe. C# for each remove item from list. Oh, we're gonna get a collection as modified exception. Okay. Hmm. Iterate your list in reverse. Oh, hmm. Oh, could also do this. To list. That's a copy. Do I care about making copies? Hmm. Hmm. I think we're getting a little too in the weeds. Oops, not two lines separating, two lists. Oh. Oh, this is a linked list. I guess linked lists don't have that. Oh no, it does. Oh, but it's uh Oh, is that how that guy did it? Is a link search? No. So we can either trust that this is all going to resolve before the items are destroyed, so I have no issues, or loop through it backwards to ensure for sure that we're not going to have issues. Yeah, let's just go backwards. Seems a little bit safer, and I've never done this, so it's kind of neat to try out. Print I equals to open menu list dot count -1 because I want the indexes, right? Yeah. While I is greater than 0. Wait, no. Oh, wait. going backwards is a little trickier than I thought. If it's the index, I want it to be I greater than or equal to 0. So greater than -1. I minus minus. Right? And then instead we have to do open menu list. I dot value dot close menu external, which you're not happy with. Oh, you can't do linked lists that way. Oh my gosh, I don't know what. Okay, what is the difference between a list and a linked list? Linked list had nice last element things, but all over. Oh wow. Whatever. Maybe I don't care enough to make sure that it doesn't go bad. This part's stumping me harder than it was supposed to. Okay, what are we've gotten this is so I this is classic. I started off thinking, hey, getting the menus to render in the right order be the easiest part. And it just starts unraveling a little bit by little bit by little bit. Like I forgot that some of my menus were still on the old model or approach in my game. And then to be fair, we had it working, but I bit off a little bit more, which is going to be just another problem of like certain menus are going to render over others when I don't plan them to. So I like this approach, but now I'm running into how do I properly use a linked list? I used a linked list originally to. Why did we use it originally? We used it originally because it kept track of the order things are opened in nicely. Um, yeah, first, last, they're nice, but if I can't add or reference things by index, a for loop doesn't make sense. Maybe Unity's can destroy object timing. No, that's to queue it up. immediately after the current update loop. Okay, so it's done after the update loop, but before rendering. So actually, we're perfectly safe to do a for each. Okay. Going back and reading the documentation works. Open menu list, perfect. And then we just need to do this to nice and simple menu.close, menu external. Perfect. And this should not be an infinite loop. I'm so confident it's not an infinite loop. We're just gonna straight let it rip. You're silly if you don't think I'm gonna send it. So let's go over here, open up a menu, open up a new menu, boom, and it's gone. We can close that. We can open that again. We can open it without. Oh, perfection. Wow. What were those numbers we came up with earlier for the offset of the menu, by the way? Finally getting back to... Not even back to where this started. Okay, well, I'm going to make a note for myself to remember... we need to update remaining menus. Use my liege menu. Which actually, I think all of them, even though like the ancestry one isn't using the outer wrapper, I think the family tree menu script is using my liege menu. Because yeah, all of them are using this base class in order to use the escape. So that's actually pretty good. Because I need to specify the close existing menus setting. So I'll go do that later. What I really... We're running long-ish. Longer than I'd appreciate already. Either way, but I want to tackle a little bit of... I have an opportunity to give the meeple a specific thought. And I think I have a very clear vision on how this is going to work. So what we will do is I'm going to start all the way at the beginning where the content's written and just follow the thought along to the meeple. So what we need to do to accomplish all of this is I'm going to need a couple things. We're going to start at the base level where the content's written. So we'll open up the schema for the JSON files because all the content's written as JSON files and built into assets in editor. So we're going to need this. We're also going to need the object, the class, the C# class for it. And then we'll let's start here. Okay. So what I'm picturing is let's minimize some stuff. Stage direction option steps. So steps are the structure that I use to hold what happens when you pick an option. So when we reassign these are the parameters that we need. Job from, job to, and how many. I'm going to add in here a string of opinion. And actually, I'll call it focused opinion so that I know better what to make of that. I also have in here, there's the public struct step, but in order to better handle things like enumerations or slight differences between the JSON and the C# structures, I have a JSON version of the step struct that we also will need to add it to. Whoops. Public string, focused opinion. Excellent. Now we just need it in the schema. We go to the step properties. The reassign is defined up here, actually. It's got a job type, meeple count, and now a brand new focused opinion, which is a type string. And it is not required. This is not going to be a required aspect of this. And let's go ahead and actually we'll edit one right away so that we know we have an example. And we'll just edit the one we've been using, the farmer one. Farm needs help. So I'm going to collapse a couple of things to get it out of the way. Let's say when you send merchants, that reassigning from market to farm, the one we're going to follow, what should his stop be? Testing purple elephants. This will make sure that I actually can tell. Actually, no, let's be a little more realistic. What would a merchant say when he's being reassigned to the farm? Could treat him like a city, like a city boy, not looking forward to having to work in the dirt. Yeah, like, and actually, we'll use my translator for this. I don't want to get my hands dirty. He's a little disgruntled about it. I do not crave to get mine hands dirty. I like that. There we go. Perfect. So now if we see this opinion, we'll know that things are working. So it's in the JSON. The JSON knows about it. The C# object knows about it. I have a tool that translates things from my JSON to the in-game assets. So I'm going to double check that in here when I have a function for taking the steps and building, yep, we need it in here. So the in-game step needs to get its opinion from, and we don't have to do any casting or anything, it's just a string, but this is where the reason I have two structs is so that the JSON can be normal strings, but I'm going to parse it into the enum types internally. Which seems kind of silly, but if I don't do that, then in the JSON files, I have to do things like, instead of animation type having an enumeration defined so that it's bow, idle, or upset, I'd have to put like 0, 1, or 2, like the enum values. And I don't want to do that. I want this part to be as easy to write as possible. Okay, great. So now the JSON files can be translated into assets in game. Now the game needs to be able to read those assets properly. So in the scenario manager is the code that will process the steps when they need to be processed. Reassign is handled through queuing in the step display manager because it doesn't happen right away. It only happens once we're displaying the menu specific to reassigning or stat changing or assigning new. So we need to go here. It adds it to a queue, but then basically we loop through that queue and display the step results. So when reassigning, what happens is we make a meeple, and this is how, so like that reassigning, we're assigning 4 merchants to become farmers, but we only need to follow one of them with the camera. So this reassigned meeples returns a game object, and that game object is the meeple we're going to follow around. And so follow meeple. Oh, that's the delegate to let the camera know who we're following. Create step display menu. So actually, I don't need to change any of this logic at all. As long as we reassign to something, what we just need to do then is give that meeple its thought. So this is just a generic game object. I'd really like the meeple script. Reassign meeples when you return. Okay, this is what I thought. So the meeples in the list in the meeple manager are actually stored as their scripts, not as their game objects, and we're specifically returning a game object. So I could change this to return the script and not have to do a get component lookup on it. The step display manager is not the only person using this function. No, the cinematic, one of the cinematics is using this as well. But it's not doing anything with the returned value. So we can safely change it. So let's have this be a meeple main. And there we go. That should be good. And then in the step display, we don't need to change much. Just say this is the meeple main, and then dot transform still works perfectly fine. And we can now just call example meeple dot. Oh no, we need to first see, is there an important dot? If step dot reassign dot focused opinion, that new value we made, and let's do string dot is null or empty, but we only want to do it if it's not is null or empty. Now if we have one, we then add important thought, which this is where I was like, oh, pre-existing planning and code is coming together. I already have this method for handing out important thoughts. That's when like I give them a little thought bubble as they wander the world. Those important thoughts are like relevant to the story. And so I can give this guy an important thought, and it'll use all the existing functionality. They won't keep the thought forever, and you'll actually see when they have one and when they don't. So I don't even have to really just make, like, we've changed code in 4-ish spots. Let's see, we changed the JSON, the objects, the JSON conversion, the meeple manager, and the step display manager. 5 spots. maybe 6 lines total, 7 lines total-ish. Depends upon if you count these as lines. But I think it's as simple as that. And now I have whole new functionality. So I'm using my custom tool here to create the assets from the JSON. Basically commit that change we made to the JSON file into the game assets. And let's see if this works. I'm hopeful. So let's load up. Save a little bit of time. Let's go to the farm matter. Merchants need some help. Confirm it. And look at that. The meeple we're following has a thought. And if I can manage to click on him, I do not crave to get mine hands dirty. I totally understand, my man. And that worked brilliantly. That works so good. So good. So there we go. Holy cow. I spent, of this like hour and a half-ish long video, the part that I thought would take 15 minutes took an hour 15. And the part that I was like, okay, we might have to explore a little bit, maybe take like a half hour to an hour, took like 10, 15 minutes. That's programming in a nutshell, actually. So that is where I'm gonna stop. Next steps for me personally there are, I gotta go clean up the rest of my menus and implement that checkbox that we added in, so that things like, because for example, the ancestry, I want to force all these previous menus closed as well, stuff like that. That's just clean up for me. And then go through the reassigned steps and give them thoughts when I have them to add extra value to the game. I might reconsider that thought bubble, because when you're up close and personal, that thought bubble's kind of big. The thing with the important, like doing the add important thoughts, is when they happen, because typically what I do is if I have an important thought, I add it the turn after the impacting decision queued it up. So like for example, there should be, there we go, because I assigned merchants, one of the farmers is now very grateful that the merchants are helping. So I typically do it, and like at this height, I love these. This is great. But when you're up close and following them, it's not so great. The thing is, like, up close and following, I like when you select them, I take away the image because you're too close. So this is a new issue. So I might tweak that graphically a little bit. I'm not sure how I would go about that, but I just need to go around. Excuse me. And on any of those reassigned choices, add thoughts were relevant. And I think that'll really improve that interaction. And I'm really glad I watched Jake do that, because like that interaction, because I had never played the game that way, even though it was the most logical thing to do. Like, hey, you're showing me this meeple getting assigned from one job to the next. I know meeples have thoughts. What's he thinking? Like that train of thought. It's so obvious, but I didn't see it. And I've been doing this. Like I said, I've done that interaction hundreds of times. So either way, this has been great. Thank you for tuning in. If you made it all the way to here, holy cow, you forgot that you left me on, and maybe this is on autoplay now. But hey, hello. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you later.